Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia here. I am going live like I do every single Wednesday morning. Well, unless there's sickness or something. But most Wednesday mornings, you'll find me here at 9 a.m. doing a live card presentation. And starting this Wednesday, I'm going to be turning one of those card presentations into a card class to go. I used to offer these weekly, but it just got to be too much with the kids, and I teach 4 days a week and stuff like that. So I figured out that once a month is going to be just the right amount for me. So it's usually going to be the first Wednesday of the month. Good morning. And so that's what today is. April 3rd is the first Wednesday of April. So this is going to be my Filled with Happiness card class to go. I'm going to switch over to my desktop so you can see the product that I'm going to be creating with, and I'll explain more about my card classes to go if you're not familiar with them already. All right, here we go. So I'm creating with the Filled with Happiness stamp set. This beautiful stamp set is in our current mini catalog and unfortunately will be retiring as of the last day of April. We have a new catalog coming out in May. Oh, I should double check actually that that's true, that our mini ends. Yeah, last day of April. Our mini ends when our annual catalog ends. So last day of April is the last day to grab this stamp set. And so I wanted to show it off because it's been a real favorite of mine. It's really easy to use. It works well with the modern oval punch. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to be creating with. So today I'm going to make 3 cards with you. And then with a $60 purchase, you will actually get a make and take kit to make 2 of each of the cards that I designed today. And you'll get the printable PDF to go with it, and a link to this video so you can come back and rewatch it. So this is the first card that we're going to create. It's got those beautiful oranges on them. And that's just one stamp, which is what I really, really love about this stamp set is it's like really easy to use. So you'll get a card kit that has double the product in it. And you'll get your envelopes as well. So here we go. I'm going to start with my stamping. So I've got a piece of cardstock here. I am going to grab my image with my oranges and some black ink. And this is just Memento Black. Now, if you don't like the harshness of black ink, I do really love using like a basic gray or something as well with this, but just to keep supplies down that you would need to have at home, I use the Memento because I've used it, I think, on all 3. Oh no, on 2 of the cards. So we're just going to ink up our image with our Memento Black. Now mine might need to be re-inked, so this might not be the best image I could ever get. All right. And oh, I see it's upside down, but for this card, it doesn't matter. We'll just turn our paper later. Good morning, Kim. Okay, so I'm really giving that a good press to make sure I have a full, complete image because we're not cutting this one or anything. We're using it as is. Oh, beautiful. Okay, that worked out perfectly. All right, I'm going to put the lid on my ink because I'm a bit clumsy. All right. Now, with our gorgeous image created here, we're going to color it in. So today, for this one, I'm going to use my Calypso Coral and my Granny Apple Green blends. And I am going to start with the fine tip of my dark Calypso Coral. And we're going to hope that I do this properly. I'm going to color inside these lines. So I do find that doing half and then half allows me to keep my hand steady on the table and get that nice arch. Okay. If you've got a steady hand, you can probably do the whole thing. But I find that just the way my hand works, I need it on the table to steady it, and then I don't have as big of a range of motion. All right, so we've got that line just kind of colored in, accented just a tiny bit. Now, as long as I've got my dark Calypso Coral with that fine tip out, I am going to put dots over top of all the dots that they have on this page. Got a lot of little dots on the oranges to show those little dimples. All right, and then I'm going to do a thin line where those dots are. Okay, with that done, I am going to grab my thicker tip of my light Calypso coral, and I'm going to quickly color in those oranges. Now I actually have new Calypso blends on order because the tip of this one is starting to get frayed, but that's done the job. Now I'm going to take my fine tip, and where I did that darker line and those dots, I'm going to kind of just go over it to help blend it. I find that that fine tip is the tip to use to really help blend when you're using the dark and the light together. It's also great for getting into those small spots that your big tip won't go into. All right, there we go. So it's just a nice subtle color on those oranges. Now I'm going to take the fine tip of my Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to do, you can choose, either just do the center line on the leaves or do 1/2 of the leaves, kind of up to you. There we go. So I kind of let it be messy, be the center line be 1/2, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to take the fine tip of my light Granny Apple, and I'm going to color the whole leaf in, including over top of where I did my dark. That's going to help it blend. There. So these are pretty quick and easy to color. All right, and then we'll leave our flowers white because orange flowers are white. All right, so that's all of our coloring done. Now we get to start putting our card together. So I'm going to take this stamped image, and I'm going to glue it onto a piece of petal pink cardstock. Let's see, liquid glue. You can use whatever adhesive you like, but I prefer liquid glue. All right. So we just did that. Now, I think I didn't mention to you, all 3 cards today have DSP. Oh, this is why I use liquid glue. That was really crooked. There we go. So all 3 cards today have DSP on them. And it's the most unlikely of DSPs. I've paired up this stamp set with the really fun Be Mine 12 by 12 Designer Series paper. So let's see, I'll pull out some of this paper. So we have bright florals with stripes, plaids, bumblebees galore. Let's see what else is in here. We've got our bee, like honeycomb, more bumblebees. And oh, I think this one is one of my favorites. Oh, where did I grab that? The big red flowers with more bumblebees. And then there's also the honey jars, which also has the really fun red with white dotted like swirls and stuff. Really great for Valentine's cards and just fun. And then we've got more bumblebees and some hearts. And that might be all the designs. But basically you get 12 designs. Oh, go back in there. Come on. Nope, doesn't want to. So I've paired it up because this Designer Series paper is also retiring. And so I have a lot of it because I love the bumblebees. But I wanted to find some new ways to use it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a piece of that beehive, the petal pink beehive, and I'm going to actually glue it onto a piece of white cardstock that's been embossed with the crosshatch from the Basics 3D embossing folder. So this is an online exclusive. You get 3 folders a crosshatch, polka dots, and then these really cool like rosettes. The crosshatch though has become like my absolute favorite go-to. I need to add some interest to my background without distracting from my card. It's just the perfect background. All right, so we're going to glue that on there. And then I'm going to take whichever one will just go across. All right, so that one, because I want to leave, actually, no, this is a knot, so I want to use the larger one. So I'm going to take a piece of ribbon. This is kind of a ribbon saving technique. And I'm going to use my Seal Plus. You could use tear and tape for this as well. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each end. So now what I can do is take my ribbon and tuck that end behind, stretch it across my card front, and tuck it behind. So now that ribbon is going to lay flat, and it's just stuck on the back. Okay, with that done, we can attach this to our card front, and I am going to use liquid glue for it. Oh, I know, Kim, that crosshatch is just fantastic. And you know, it's funny, I like it embossed and the backside, the debossed. I actually can't decide which side I like better. All right, so this gets glued right in the center of our card front. There we go. And really adhere that. Okay, now I'm going to leave my liquid glue for a bit. I am going to grab some dimensionals, and I'm going to pop our image onto our card front using dimensionals. So I'm going to do all four corners. And then I would normally put one right in the middle, but our ribbon's going to run there. So I'm going to put one up above where the ribbon will be and one below where the ribbon will be. Okay, we'll peel those off. So, there we go. And, all right, so that we're going to try to center it top to bottom and left to right. Do your best. There we go. That seems good enough to me. And then our final bit on this card is to take our extra piece of ribbon, and we're just going to tuck it under that ribbon. Now it's kind of got a spot to tie onto. I know you can tie a knot and use a mini glue dot to attach it, but I always worry that that's like not going to be secure enough. All right, so this way I know it's not falling off unless all the ribbon on my card falls off, which isn't likely to happen. And then I just kind of twist it until it sits the way I want it to sit, not the way it wants to sit. Okay, and finally we trim up those ends. Now, I really struggled with whether or not to embellish these cards with any dots or anything. And in the end, I decided not to. If you wanted to, I would probably suggest our rainbow dots. Let's see, I'll grab those. But I believe these are currently unavailable, which is really frustrating. But if you did want to embellish, I would recommend our rainbow dots and probably using these little guys, one on top of each of those black dots. That, or maybe a good rhinestone. You know, everybody likes a good rhinestone. But I decided I'm going to keep these ones simple. I want to make a lot of this one. And so just keep it simple. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about the ribbon I'm using. The ribbon I used is a petal pink ribbon, but it's actually part of the Ribbon Duo Combo Pack. So we've got petal pink and lemon lime twist. I love this lemon lime twist ribbon. It's thin, so easy to tie, and just such a fun color. And so that's a duo combo pack, and it is also retiring. You might notice a theme today on with today's cards. We have 1 month left with this catalog, and I don't want you guys to miss out on any of the great things that we've had to play with for the last year, well, 4 months to a year, depending on which catalog they're from. All right, so that is our first card. So with your card kit, with a $60 order, you will get everything you need to make 2 of this card. And so that includes the DSP, the ribbon, and all the cardstock. So you will just need to have your stamps and inks and colors and adhesives at home. All right, I'm going to put that one off to the side. And we're going to get started with card number 2. I think this is my favorite of the lot, which is funny because this color has not always been my favorite, but it's really grown on me, and it's just so spring-like and fun. So that is what we're going to be creating. I'm going to put that to the side, though, so I have space to create. And I'm going to push my blends just up out of the way for a moment because we don't need any blends on this card. And here we go. We're going to start with a piece of lemon lime twist cardstock. Oh, I'm dropping stuff everywhere. All right. And we're going to take our thanks. So many things are returning. Retiring, yeah. But the new things are awesome. I cannot wait to play with the new things. As a demo, I'm allowed to place a pre-order. And so I'm waiting for mine to arrive. If you love getting new things before other people, you can contact me about how to join my team. And we can get you all set up and ordering from that pre-order as well. All right, so for this card, I am taking lemon lime twist paper with lemon lime twist ink. Neither of those is returning, luckily. And the thanks image. And I can now see has some kind of a hair on it. There we go. Remove that. And I just stamped thanks diagonally in the corner. Now, I brought it down enough that most of the word actually fit on the card. I am going to go back and stamp above it and put in some thanks that doesn't fit. But I wanted that first thanks to really show up nicely in that top corner. All right. Oh, you're watching from your phone. That's awesome. All right. Then I'm just going to start kind of like, oh, that's annoying. Kind of on an off angle, like, or not off angle, offset, like in the middle of my thanks. I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to come back and add in the missing piece. Okay, then for this one, it's kind of like laying bricks. That one, I'm going to straddle the 2 thanks and then come up. And now I can fill in the missing piece. I never want to do those little missing pieces when they're so small until I have the other words in place. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, it's big enough. I can keep it going. Okay. And so we're just creating this fun little diagonal thanks across our whole card front. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get covered up a lot of it. And there we go. All right, so that is our fun background created with our thanks. Now, I will need that ink again, but, oh, darn it, I forgot to get this wet. Okay, well, if you don't have your chamois for your tabletop wet and ready to go, your regular Simply chamois does the trick as well. There we go. So we've cleaned up our desktop so we don't have lemon lime twist ink everywhere. All right. So with that done, we can now attach some designer series paper to this. So I've got the one that's got stripes on the back and flowers on the front from our Bumblebee paper. Oh, good. So I had a few that didn't stamp very well, and this is going to cover them up. I'm putting it slightly below halfway, and I'm going to use liquid glue to attach it. All right. So you'll watch the replay. Okay. Have a great day, Kim. All right, here we go. So I'm going to pop that on. glue that down. And now with that glued down, I am going to do that same little trick I did on the last card with the ribbon. So for this one though, I do have two different sizes. I want to save the bigger one because I'm tying a bow this time. All right, so I'm going to take this and tuck it around the back so that that lays flat on my card front. So I like to just put the ribbon visible a bit so that I can see where I have to put my Seal Plus so that it'll stick. Okay, there we go. And then I don't actually stick it right away though, because I want to make sure this is actually straight. There we go, tuck one end, lay it flat, tuck the other end. And now because we've got sticky bits on the back here, I'm going to glue this to our card front. So let's bring in our card front. Our card front is another piece of lemon lime twist. And oops, here we go. So I was almost late starting this morning's video because I have a poor child. All my kids have struggled with, not with math, but with Math 10. So I have a poor child struggling with Math 10. He has a test on factoring polynomials today. And he's like, Mom, I got to practice more. Help me. And he was begging me not to go as he was on his last practice question. Like, I gotta go. You've got this. So hopefully we stayed up far too late practicing yesterday, up early today to practice. Okay, so there's our card front. Now we get to do some more stamping before we have one more piece of ribbon here to tie our bow, but we're going to hold off on that until we've done our stamping. Oh, got glue on my fingers. It does happen. Even I love my liquid glue and I don't often get glue on my hands, but it does happen every once in a while. All right. So now we have a piece of basic white and we are going to stamp our image on here in lemon lime twist. Now this is a smaller image. It doesn't have the outside layer of text. What's cool though is you could mix and match it. So this one's You're Wonderful, and then you could mix and match it with like Today's a Good Day to Have a Good Day and put that in the center instead. I'll show you how, because this coordinates with our modern oval punch. So ink this one up, stamp this. I'm not too worried about exactly centering it. I just want to have a good border on all sides because we're going to use our modern oval punch to cut that one out. So I'm going to put that away, drop my modern oval punch, and let's pop that in till it looks centered. There we go. There. And voila, we've just cut out our piece. Okay, so now we could pop that onto any of the borders or just use it as is. And we are going to use it just as is. So I'm going to pop it on here with dimensionals, one on the top, one on the bottom. There we go. All right. So I'm trying to get it so that the Just a Note is centered across our ribbon. Okay. Now I'm going to clean up my image, my Just a Note image. And I'm going to stamp it one more time, this time using Versamark. And I'm going to stamp it onto a piece of Coastal Cabana. Now, you're probably thinking, well, that piece is not big enough. You're right, it's not. That's okay. I'm actually not even going to ink up my whole image. I'm just inking up the center that says Just a Note. And I'm going to make sure that the lines above and below Just a Note are on my cardstock. Okay, with that stamped in Versamark, you cannot see it. So I'm going to get a tray of white embossing powder. And we'll bring this back in. Now, for those of you who have looked at our retiring list, you might have seen the embossing powders on that list, but don't panic. We're not getting rid of embossing powders. That's just crazy. We're just switching companies and we're moving over to the WOW brand. And so our old brand is retiring and currently unavailable right now, I think. All right, so I'm going to take this and heat this up. Okay, there we go. So that is all embossed and looking beautiful. Now, depending on your comfort level with like paper trimmers and scissors and whatnot, you can choose to cut this in whatever way you would like. I am going to use paper snips. And I'm just going to follow that line. So I'm going to start before the line, but I'm going to use my scissor tips to kind of line up to it. And then I'm just cutting on the inside so that embossed line that we just created will actually be gone. Okay, but it's a perfect guide for cutting straight. Okay. There we go. So now I have this little strip of Just a Note, and I want to make sure that when I flag my ends, I don't flag too far in because I don't want to see any of the white on the background. So I'm going to actually lay this down so it looks centered to me. I'm going to come across here and put a dot in the middle just a little bit out from the edge, so I won't accidentally be able to see that paper. Okay, so now with that little dot, you can use our retiring Pick-a-Punch banners die and cut to get rid of that dot. But without a punch to do this, you can cut into that dot and then cut into where you cut. Okay, and that flags that end. And then we just do the same on the other end. Okay, so cut to the dot, and then in, and, oops, and in. There we go. So that is another way to create a flagged banner. All right, so now we have our flagged banner created. That's going to go right on there. I am going to put mine on with dimensionals though, but to make sure my dimensionals end up where I want them, I'm going to put them over top of where I want my banner to be and then stick my banner on. All right, I should stand up to do this because I want to line it up so that I can see the granny apple green lines above and below my Just a Note. All right, there we go. And so that's how we can create that little one. And then to finish it up, we grab our ribbon, tuck it under. I am going to do one loop around to kind of secure it in place. And then I'm going to make bunny ears and make a bow. There we go. All right, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to trim these ends. All right. Trim and trim. All right, and that is our finished card. Now, again, I chose not to use any embellishments on this, but you totally could probably put a couple little dots there. I'd use those rainbow dots again and probably in the pool party. All right, so that's how I would dress that one up. All right. Oh, sorry, I totally forgot. We need an insert on this one. You don't need it because, of course, this is a light enough color you could write on the inside, but I really like having something on the inside, so we can take that and glue it in, and then we'll have a nice space to write on. Okay, so I'm going to just do that. Now, this stamp set doesn't have a lot of little images that we can use, so I would probably grab an extra piece of DSP to put on the inside, or grab a different stamp set and stamp a little flower or something inside. Okay, just like that. All right, and that is our finished card number 2. So you'll get everything you need to create 2 of this card as well. And our final card is a super fun 3-panel card that you can actually turn into a gift card holder if you wanted to. Okay, so, and then that's our inside. This one does have a cute little stamp that we're going to use. So here, I can untie this. So this little bow here, you can untie, and it opens up for another little spot. You could put a picture, put some sentiments. You could even use a piece of tape and put a gift card on there to close it in like that. And it's just super fun and cute. So I'm going to move that off to the side and show you how we created this one. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to start with our panel for our front. Okay, so with our panel, we've just got our piece of cardstock here, and you just want to fold it first so that you can see where it's going to have the little opening on the front. So it doesn't really matter which way you fold it. It's going to end up with that same opening, but you want to make sure it's on the right-hand side. That's going to help us decide where we're stamping. And I just realized I don't have this little image on a block. So I'm just going to grab that, pop it. Oh, I don't have any small blocks. Yikes. Okay. I'm going to pop that onto a block. I've put it up in a top corner. That's going to help me when I'm inking it to not get ink everywhere. All right, let's move these out of the way. And this is Coastal Cabana ink that I'm using for this. So I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana. I want to do this whole side. So I'm going to open that up so it's flat. I don't want anything else. And it's okay if I go onto my back here because this is actually going to get glued down. We won't see this. So if I go off the edge and go in there, I'm not worried about it. Okay, and so I'm just rotating this around and stamping it kind of randomly all over my card front. Okay. And so here we go. Just remember to keep twisting it. That way it won't end up looking all like in a row, uniform, that kind of thing. Okay. So there we go. That. Okay. So this takes a little bit of time. While I'm doing this, if you're watching and you want to say hi, let me know who's here and watching. I'd love to know. And I'll just let you know a little bit more about what's going on in the Stampin' Up! World. Right now, we're just finishing up a lovely year with our gorgeous annual catalog and getting ready to welcome a new catalog on May 1st. If you are a customer of mine, in the last year, you will receive a catalog from me in the mail. If you haven't purchased from me in the last year, if you haven't purchased from me in the last year but would like a catalog, you can contact me directly and just let me know and we'll get that all worked out. Okay, so that's that front side done. I am going to clean up my desk because I don't want to get ink on the inside of my card. There we go. And so with a new catalog means I always do a catalog launch. All right, so with that close like that, I want to decorate this side as well. Now, because it's just random patterns, I'm just going to put it this way because that's easier for me. And again, I don't care if I get any on the back of this because it's going to get glued down and we're not going to see it. Okay. So I will be doing a catalog launch party with Greta, just like we did for the last catalog. Our dates are yet to be determined, so I will let you know as soon as I know, but it won't be before May 1st, because we can't show you the inside of the catalog and stuff before then. The only way to be able to see the inside of the catalog before then is to get your hands on a catalog by being a demo or by coming to contacting me and getting it. Okay, so that's how you're going to get a hold of those. And then, of course, when we have a new catalog, I have a few groups that I do stamp camps with, and so we always pick some new sets from the new catalog and do our stamp camps. And so one of my groups, we've decided we're going to focus on the Country Flowers bundle, which you may have seen some other demos showing. Some people were able to go to an in-person event in the United States and already have some of these items. I'm still waiting for mine. And yeah, so we're going to be doing that. And then, of course, with my own team, I do monthly team meetings where we do stamping together. And so if you wanted to be a part of that, you can contact me and find out how you can join my team. Oh, hi, Janet. Oh, excellent. Yeah, I had a very restful spring break and I'm feeling a lot better. Still have a bit of congestion, but doing a whole lot better. All right, so I'm not going to put that away yet. So now we've got this stamped so that our whole front is beautiful like that. And I'm going to set this off to the side and grab the piece of paper that will be the inside of that. Now, I do want to clean this desktop up before I put down my white paper. There we go. All right, so for this one, I am going to stamp just some random leaves along the bottom of this paper. And I'm just kind of letting them tumble and follow how they will. All right. So there we have it. That's the inside of our card stamped. We're going to do the same thing to the larger piece that's going to go on the inside of the larger part of our card. So here we go. And grab that. Just rotate it. Here we go. Just like that. Like that. There we go. So that is all done. And if you wanted to, you could do that to your envelope as well. All right. I think you guys have watched me stamp enough of those tiny leaves, though. We're going to leave that for today. I am going to put away my Calypso Coral ink now. And we're going to start putting together our card before we do more stamping. So I'm going to bring in a, oh, I've got two pieces there. Interesting. I'm going to bring in a Coastal Cabana base. And I'm going to glue a piece of designer series paper to the front. And I'll glue our insert in. So this is the yellow plaid with the bumblebees on the other side. So I'm going to glue this yellow plaid onto my card front. Now, I don't want to see glue lines, so I am running this wider tip of my glue stick over those to kind of take away some of the glue. So So it's just a nice thin layer. That helps it stick really quickly, but it also helps prevent seeing those glue lines through your paper. All right, so with that done, we're now going to take our insert and glue that inside. Here we go. Now remember, you stamped those leaves. I want mine on the bottom, so I'm going to make sure I've got that lined up properly. There we go. All right, now I'm going to take this insert and we're going to glue it inside that little pocket that we created, that tri-panel. All right, so just double check which way it's closing. Perfect. Do that. And glue that in there. Now, this is where if you also wanted to put in a little gift card, you could just use a piece of tape and adhere it there and then close that up. And what we're going to do is take a piece of petal pink ribbon and wrap it around this. And so I usually don't worry too much about where my knot ends in the beginning. I just want 2 equal lengths on either side. Now, I'm not making a true knot though, because I want this to be able to be reopened easily. So I'm just doing once around and then making bunny ears. Just like that. Okay, now with that all tied nicely, I don't want to trim these ends up too much because if somebody opens it, they need to be able to close it again, right? So I'm going to leave those nice long ends and I'm going to move that bow over so that it's past the fold line. Now I'm going to trim them up just so that like this one's not even on an angle. It's like a blunt cut. So I'm going to put it onto an angle. And if either of your ends are frayed, trim that up so they're not frayed. But my other end is great. It's not frayed at all. So with that done like that, I am actually going to adhere this to my card front, but I want to use a really strong tape for this. So you could use your Seal Plus, or my preferred when I'm doing something like this is Terran tape. Now, one of the reasons I like Terran tape is because I'm going to be able to lay this down over top of that ribbon, and that's going to help the ribbon like stop it from sliding around when somebody unties this card. All right, so the ribbon's going to stay in place and not fall away. All right, and then like that, and all the way down here. Oops. Okay, the other nice thing about Terran tape or Seal Plus is you don't have any liquid glue kind of leaking out the sides when you're trying to do something like this. Okay, so the trick to Terran tape and being able to pull those ends off easily is to make sure that they're really well attached. So you might even want to burnish this with a bone folder before you begin trying to peel up the ends. Okay. So I'm going to peel all that off. Now, Terran tape is kind of my worst nightmare though, because once you've stuck it down, it's stuck down. And I am not the most confident person at lining things up. Now, luckily, I've used a 90-degree angle plaid. So the lines on the plaid really do help. All right, so we've got that done. Now we need an image for the front of our card. So I'm going to set this off to the side, grab a piece of, oh man, I did not do this right. I completely forgot to stamp my sentiment onto my card front before decorating it. Oh my. Okay, so we're going to have a slightly different card. It's not going to have that happy birthday, which is actually kind of cool because it means you can use this card for anything. It can be a thinking of you. It can be a whatever. That's unfortunate. All right, so I do need to grab that happy birthday image. And I'm going to need to clean up my stamp so I can put this on the block. I do find it fits very nicely on the E-block. All right. Peel that off. And actually, I just realized a way that we can kind of salvage this. Well, maybe, no, we won't be able to do that. Never mind. It will make it too bulky. All right, so we're going to stamp this with Memento Black. Okay. So ink that up with Memento Black, and we're going to stamp this on there. If the whole sentiment doesn't fit, it's really not the end of the world because we're punching this out. Okay, we're really just working with the bird in the center. Now, I wonder if I don't know if we'd call it brave or dumb. I think I'm going to try stamping over top. I think this is dumb, not brave, but we're going to give it a go. Now, on my original, I didn't have any leaves inside or around my words because I stamped around my sentiment that I was smart enough to stamp on here. But we're going to put that right on there. And we've centered it top to bottom and left to right, but only on that front panel, not across the whole front. All right. Well, it's not as good as if it was all clean around it, but that works. We still have our happy birthday on there. All right. Not quite the same. Do try to remember to stamp that first. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. Follow the PDF. It's written properly. Oh my goodness. All right, and then we'll retie that. We do want this tied before we put down our next piece because our next piece is also going to help hold the ribbon in place. Okay, so you see I left long ends, so that made it really easy to retie. Excellent. All right, we're done with our black ink. So I do like to color this before I punch it, just because if I mess up, then I can just grab a new one and I don't know, you can just flip it over. So I'm going to take my dark Granny Apple Green and just do a few little marks on the bottom edges of these leaves. There we go. And then I'm going to take my light Granny Apple Green and color the whole leaf, including over top of where I did that dark originally. So that's just going to blend it all together. Okay. So just like that. All right. Now, the flowers on here, you can really do any color. If you want to keep your supplies limited, you could use the Calypso Coral that we used from our oranges. I am going to use dark Flirty Flamingo, though. And so I'm grabbing kind of the wider tip and going over the flowers, just kind of a big loose blotch of color. There we go. And just added in that little pink touch there for those flowers. And then finally, we're going to color our bird. Now, I would have loved to use Coastal Cabana, but we don't actually have a Coastal Cabana blend. So that's out. So I am going to take Pool Party and I'm going to color the whole bird in light Pool Party. Okay, and then after I've done that, I'm going to take my dark Pool Party and I'm going to highlight some areas. So underneath his, like his little breast and the tips of his wings. Okay, and then I'm going to come back with my light Pool Party again and just go over some of him. with my light pool party, so I get some variation in there, even with the light. All right, so that is our finished image, all colored in. So now this piece, I am going to punch it out. So I'm going to come in here and line this up so that I'm taking away that happy birthday and just have that bird image. Okay, now that you could totally save and use it to make a shaker card or something. That's exactly what I'm going to do with mine. And we're going to use this piece. We're going to pop it up over top of our ribbon. So I'm going to put a mini, or not a mini glue dot, just a dimensional at the top. Oh, why won't that lift up? There we go. And at the bottom. And we will pop that down over top of our ribbon, centered inside that happy birthday sentiment. And there we go. And then that is our finished card. All right, so it doesn't look as nice as if you remember to give that sentiment some space, but it still worked out. All right, oops, bring that into view. So there you go. You can see the differences. So not a big difference. That is our finished card, number 3. And again, you'll get everything you need to make 2 of this card as well. So I'm just going to bring back in all 3 cards. So we've got that one, and that one. So those are the 3 cards from our card class today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So if you want to get the printable PDF, the make and take packs and everything for this, you will want to go to my shop and place a $60 or more order. I do have a list on this post that kind of talks to you about the items you're going to want to have at home, like what colors you're going to want to have, what adhesives, and that kind of thing. So that might help you figure out what you want to order for your $60 order to get the make and take packs for this. And this offer is available all the way. You can shop until next Tuesday night, because next Wednesday, I will cut up all the packets and get them in the mail and everything for you once I know how many people I'm cutting for. So thank you so much for joining me. I will be doing one of these card classes on the first Wednesday of every month. And then the rest of the month, I will be live on Wednesdays, but it will be just to showcase a single card or a kit or something like that. So please do join me. And I was watching my friend Ange yesterday, and it reminded me, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel or my Facebook page, please subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends and stuff. So that helps my videos kind of get out there to the world, and that would be awesome. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. Bye. Thanks, Janet.